Greetings, SCG. Shall we play a game? Initializing.
In what seems to be a recurring theme of late, we will be discussing a title in the near-saturated LAAS MCSP, or Lone Astronaut in Abandoned Station with Missing Crew Solving Puzzles genre. While this game, the Turing Test, does share some similarities with several earlier games we've reviewed, it differs in subtle ways. For example, it can be contrasted with Observation, in that it doesn't focus nearly as much on character development and environmental storytelling, instead providing a fascinating deep dive into issues of morality, logic, and what existence and survival can mean to different people. Similarly, it distinguishes itself from Deliver Us the Moon by not being crap. But the discriminating gamer of today asks for more than just not being crap to justify his or her time. Will the Turing Test satisfy your criteria? Let's find out together. The eponymous Turing Test, the actual test, not the game, is a protocol developed by Alan Turing for determining if a computer can be considered sentient or not. While a full exploration is beyond the scope of this review, for our purposes it can be summed up as, a computer is sentient if a person can't distinguish it from a real human based solely on conversation. The Turing Test, the game, puts you in the role of Ava Turing, who is sent to a facility on Jupiter's moon Europa to investigate what has happened to the facility's missing crew.
Engaging retrofire.
Accompanying Ava is an AI, Tom, who provides critical backstory and, more importantly, serves as Ava's foil in dialogues on the nature of humanity.
If you weren't restricted, do you think you could be creative?
As creative as a human? Certainly. You believe yourself to be a creative. But in mathematical terms, creativity is merely constrained chaos.
These sequences are well written and adopt the Turing Test in a very clever way. A human discussing what it means to be human with an artificial construct. Truly, the writing deserves special praise. Bulkhead Interactive didn't rely solely on traditionally unfolding narrative with its requisite plot twists and motivations. They're in there to be sure, but the writers made the real vehicle the ongoing philosophical discussions between Ava and Tom.
A computer may be able to interact with new knowledge, but it does not know the value of that knowledge.
It's as if the story itself, as good as it is secondary, almost a MacGuffin there to provide their discourse its context. It's kind of like following two art historians through a museum of fine art and being more engrossed in their discussions of the art than of the art itself. This is accomplished so adroitly that the decisions made in the final moments of the game bear the weight of your previous 5 or 6 hours of consideration.
A combination of logical and lateral thinking.
As I've often said in these reviews, the sign of good writing is that you're left thinking about it long after you've left the game, and the Turing Test did just that. Well done. Now onto the gameplay itself. If you're familiar with Portal, you're familiar with the Turing Test. If you aren't, here's a quick rundown. The player is placed in a series of puzzle rooms with the goal of reaching the room's exit. These rooms contain a set of props, usually blocks, switches, moving platforms, power sources, and things like that. Fortunately, the rules for using them are consistent and easily discoverable. Using those tools, the player must make it to the room's exit and move on to the next one. In each of the Turing Test's 7 chapters, there are 10 puzzles and an optional challenge puzzle. As you progress, the game steadily layers new components and rules onto previous ones, forcing you to think of new and exciting ways of using the old tools. While many rooms, especially early on, can be solved with regular vertical thinking and a little bit of brute force, the challenge rooms and several main story ones require some serious lateral thinking that were a sheer joy to solve. Again, very well done. All in all, the puzzles are clever, fun, and can be involved, but with a little bit of perseverance and creativity never difficult enough to cause frustration. And before I forget, I'd like to suggest that you check out our reviews playlist. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, you'll have an exclusive chance to like and subscribe. Now, before we go on, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the overwhelming similarities between the Turing Test, Observation, and Deliver Us the Moon. Although they each emphasize different features such as narrative, character development, pacing, and puzzle style, they have so much in common it can't be coincidence. First off, all three of them feature a lone astronaut accompanied by an AI companion with surprisingly similar names who can't be completely trusted. They all begin searching through an abandoned space station filled with crew cabins stocked with tchotchkes. They're all trying to track down their missing crews. And what's this with the camera hopping bits? And why can't any of the astronauts ever seem to open doors by themselves? And the messages from Sarah, we always have to find Sarah.
In this ice, we found an organism.
And the puzzles, they're all different, yet... Are these all actually in the same universe? Is this actually the same Sarah? Are these all the same game and we just haven't noticed up to this point? And seriously, Rolf's air timer, what's that all about?
You can't just add and subtract life. It's not math. It's more nuanced than that.
Morality is logic.
In summary, the Turing Test isn't driven by its story, as good as it is, but by the discourse of the two primary characters as the story happens around them. From the play side, it's a very solid brain teaser emphasizing both logic and lateral thinking in near equal measure. Would you like it? If you're a Portal fan, you'll like it. If you're a fan of thoughtful writing and fondly remember those late-night college bull sessions, you'll like it too. The Turing Test was developed by Bulkhead Interactive. It's available anywhere fine games are sold for PC and most consoles. Also, if you have an Xbox Game Pass, you can play it today for free. And at that price, there's no reason not to play it just for the story alone. So that's our review of the Turing Test. If you've played it, what was your experience? Please leave a comment below and let us know. Also, feel free to add any questions or suggestions. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing. It would be greatly appreciated and really helps a lot. Thanks for watching.
Weeks ago, we just...